Oh, that's heavy. Oh, my thumbs. So today we got some changes that we need to make to the drivetrain of the UglyTruck because, well, I have one shot left this year to make my goal happen, which is a 10-second pass down the quarter mile with the stock Junkyard 8.1. Now, I realize the goal of running a 10-second pass doesn't necessarily make a lot of sense because we have a heavy Silverado. This thing weighs 5,000 pounds. We're using an engine that is pretty much non-supported on the aftermarket, but even with a stock engine with lots of boost and a heavy truck, we are dangerously close to running 10. In fact, the last time we were at the track, we ran a 11.087.
Whoa, baby!
And that challenge of doing something that doesn't make sense, well, that just drives me, it motivates me, and I know we can make it happen, even without adding horsepower. But we do have to correct a mismatch in the drivetrain, which is the torque converter. So today, our objective is to remove the transmission, get the torque converter in the mail back to Circle D. They're going to make some tweaks to it. And then, depending on how much time we have left, we may play with the exhaust because I think we can lose about another 100 pounds just by changing that up. So when I built this turbo kit a year and a half ago or so, I was adamant that the entire thing kind of stayed behind the fender. Now we only had to have a little bit of a notch for the downpipe, but it all fits under the stock hood and it all fits inside the fender liner. But my logic was, well, what if I decide to drive the thing in the rain? Never. Never have I ever driven this truck in the rain. Oh yeah. We're gonna have some fun with these. Can't see what I'm doing, but I'm loosening the transmission cooler lines and blocking them off so I don't leak. So I've had this transmission in and out of the truck so many times now, I've kind of got it down to a science. And even without a lift, it only takes me a couple hours to pull the thing out, which, yes, I know, still working on the shop/lift situation. I'm tripping over my own tools here. But anyway, we got the 80E sitting down there on the jack. Yes, this is a 4L80. People ask me quite a bit if I'm still running a 4L60 with the 8.1. Nope, not in a million years. We got an 80E in here. And the converter's out on the table ready to be restalled. Now, when I originally ordered this thing, the truck was making like 8 or 10 pounds of boost, I think, and we were putting down somewhere around like 600 or 700 pounds of torque, which since then, thanks to E85 and me being a little bit braver on the keyboard, we're running 20 pounds of boost and almost as much timing, and we're only making something like, I don't know, 1,140 pounds of torque at the wheels, which obviously, well, that's going to make the torque converter react just a smidge different. So anyway, it makes for some great rolling burnouts. But when you want to make a great pass at the track, we need to tighten this thing up. I sent Circle D a data log the other day and they agreed with me. So we're going to get this thing boxed up, shipped out. They're going to do, I wish I knew more about torque converters and how they work, because I've seen inside one, but I couldn't tell you what they changed. But they're going to work their magic on it. They're going to tighten it up and hopefully let us get this truck much, much quicker. Just for some numbers, because I'm a nerd, I love sharing numbers with you guys. And hopefully this will provide some context for what we're doing. The engine makes its peak torque at 3,500 RPM, and it makes its peak horsepower at 4,200 RPM. But when we're making a pass down the drag strip, we're running between 5,000 and 5,500 RPM, where if you look at the torque curve here, like look how much it falls off as the RPMs go up. So we're operating way outside of our efficiency zone, but by tightening up the torque converter, we can make this thing pull down quite a bit more during the shift, because right now, I think it only drops about 500 RPM on each shift, where they told me on the phone we want to get that to like 800 or 900 RPM, somewhere in that zone. So anyway, torque converter tweaks hopefully will get us a better mile an hour and hopefully a quicker ET, because we can run this big giant motor a little bit closer to its peak power. Anyway, speaking of power, I wanted to share this with you guys also, because I feel like you're kind of part of the journey. This is a trophy that we got from the last dyno day we went to about a month ago. UglyTruck here actually put down the most power of any truck of the event. So we got this cool trophy. This was actually made by Colt from Snail Fab. They make some really awesome like coolant expansion tanks and breather tanks and stuff like that. And I'm going to have them make me something at some point, but we are probably going to change the turbo around once or twice before then. So anyway, I mentioned this in the last video, but I am not looking forward. I'm looking forward to this winter, but I'm a little bit nervous because we have so much to do before next April. That's my goal, is to have this truck done in April. And anyway, yeah. So anyway, it just boggles my mind every time I think about it. So for today, I want to continue on. I want to get the exhaust pulled out of this truck and I want to weigh it, because I have a feeling it's going to be extremely heavy. Now, this exhaust is actually one of the things I was the most proud of for this whole build, because I wanted to keep a 4-inch exhaust all the way from the front to the back, right out to the tailpipe, even with the truck being lowered. And we accomplished it. The truck is like a sleeper. It's nice and quiet. However, this exhaust is a little bit heavy, and it's kind of quiet, because at the racetrack, no one can even hear the truck, which is a problem. So, sad to say, it's gone. Anyone want a navigator intake? Free. Come pick it up. Oh, don't do this. Don't ever jack your truck up by the bumper. And certainly don't reach under there and pull the exhaust out while it's supported by a jack with a wood block from your bumper. That would be bad. All right, what the heck? I don't really have a small scale for measuring parts, so we got to do the part minus me. I am 207.8. Call it 208. With the front section of the downpipe, this is probably one of the heavier sections because this is a pretty good, material. Here am I. 219.8, so 220 minus 12 pounds. So not even counting all the twists and turns, there's approximately 17 feet of 4-inch exhaust pipe. And with me and the whole thing, it weighs 44 pounds. 44 pounds of exhaust. Gone. So you may be wondering why on earth I stuck the transmission back to the, back underneath the truck to the engine without a torque converter in there. And on one hand, it does save a little bit of space from having it on the floor, but mainly because when I build the exhaust for this thing next time, I need to have the engine at the exact right angle. And of course, the transmission cross member hold it right where it needs to be. Speaking of exhaust, unfortunately, it wasn't quite as heavy as I was thinking. For some weird reason, I was expecting it to be like 100 pounds, maybe a little bit more. It's not quite that much. There is 17 feet of 4-inch stainless steel pipe, plus the muffler and some hangers. But the total weight, including the front pipe and all that, it's only like 56 pounds. But when you add that up with all the interior stuff I pulled out a little while ago, that means we've lost like 146 pounds from this truck, which means the race weight with me in it and the fuel and all that good stuff should be right at 5,000 pounds. Plus, if I want, I could still pull the passenger seat out when we do go to race. That's like another 56 pounds right there. But yeah, 5,000 pound race weight and exhaust. We do have, obviously, to replace something on there because we can't just have it exiting there. I have a really cool, extremely lightweight exhaust, which I can't wait to show you guys that we're going to get started on next time. So yeah, there we go. If you guys want to know what I have done inside this transmission to hold up to 1,100 pounds of torque, check out this other video that we did a while ago. It's a simple recipe and is holding up extremely well so far. Thank you guys for watching. I got to get to UPS, get this torque converter in the mail, and next time we're dusting off the TIG welder and we're going to build some exhaust. So come back soon. Yeah, hey Brian, this is Lawrence Tolman. I was calling to ask and maybe send you guys a data log and see about getting a restall done on one of my converters.
Which one of these converters is it that you're restalling?
I think it's a 3C. It's the single disc in my big block truck. I think it's just a little too loose for what we're doing with it. Because you'll see in the log, but basically we got like 500 RPM drops or so, or a tiny bit less even on the shift. I'm trying to get back. I'm trying to get into the 10s, and I think we're close, but to me, just kind of driving it and feeling it, it feels like if we could get the thing to pull down a little bit more, it might help, but
I agree.
I guess, so yeah, I was just going to ask your guys' opinion, like what do you think we could gain, or how much RPM drop do you normally like to see, or...
If we can get you closer to like maybe 800, 900 RPM drop on that gear change, I think that extra load would help out and should put a little bit more power to the ground. It sounds like this converter here is kind of bordering the blowing through or kind of getting inefficient, in other words. So we'll take a look here and kind of see what our options are. Yeah, it looks like a 265 millimeter 3C. So we should be able to tighten that up pretty drastically, I would think.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, we have plenty of room to grow, so that's good. Yeah, I agree. I think if we can get you closer to 900 RPM drop, that'll be much better from a top end standpoint, and then we'll try to minimally impact your foot brake down low if we can play around with maybe stator placement or kind of stator options there to dial that in for you. But I think that's certainly something we can do.